This evening, first, fishing community boost. President Irfaan Ali pledges major upgrades to Good Fortuin fishing area, including a new wharf, proper lighting, and even cold storage for seafoods. How this transformation could revitalize the local economy and create opportunities for fisherfolk. Plus, caught on camera. Two separate assaults on police officers are making headlines tonight. One man charged with multiple traffic violations. Another, a reservist soldier, now behind bars. Find out why law enforcement is cracking down on violent confrontations. Also, election countdown. The race is officially on. Guyana's 2025 general and regional elections are set for September 1st. With nomination day fast approaching, GECOM is urging political parties to get their symbols in before the deadline. Details on how the process works. Meanwhile, protecting children's rights. Guyana takes a major step in child protection with the passage of a landmark bill aligning the country with international conventions. How will this new law safeguard vulnerable children? Finally, Bangladesh bombshell. A shocking turn of events in Bangladesh as prosecutors charge former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina with crimes against humanity tied to last year's student protests. What could this mean for international relations? Stay tuned, these stories and more tonight on Headline News Update. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for June 3rd, 2025. I am David Backus. Thank you for joining us. First up, President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali has committed to a series of significant improvements to the Good Fortuin fishing area on the west bank of Demerara, aimed at enhancing working conditions for local fisherfolks. During an early morning site visit today, President Ali engaged directly with fishermen and outlined a comprehensive plan for the area's transformation. Key upgrades include the rehabilitation of a non-functional coca, installation of proper lighting, construction of walkways, a docking wharf, and designated spaces for small-scale retail and storage.
First thing I want to do here is to clean up on both sides of this area. Right? You clean up both sides, put in the two concrete walkways. Well, you have one here. Finish off the one here, finish one on that side. And police, what can we do here to help them? Can we put, because it's a night mostly security problem, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Can we walk out to the fishermen and have a patrol here?
Yes, sir.
The immediate effect, right?
Yes, sir.
I want a patrol here. With them. Right? The next thing is today, because we can try what one of them boys we get. Recommend that the bridge veg come in here. No, this young man. Okay. So I just spoke to the Brits today. They're gonna mobilize and come in here to start work. So I gotta get a vote maybe to move to give them some chance. Yeah, no problem. Right? So let's try with that solution that y'all put together.
Work is expected to begin immediately, with site clearing and preparation already planned. President Ali also encouraged the identification of land for prawn, crab, and shrimp production, noting that the government would fund the construction of processing and cold storage facilities to add value to the industry.
I want us to identify land, right? That's why y'all do prawns, swamp shrimp production, crab production. This same mangrove here will give you more money on crab, cage crabbing, than the fish.
Well, we could get schooling on it.
Exactly. We bring in people from Philippines. Okay. Right? But it's not just giving you that. It's building right here a processing facility so they can take the crab, get the crab meat, you can package it right here and move off. You don't have to invest in that. The government will invest in the storage and all of these things.
The upgrades form part of a broader national strategy to boost grassroots economic activity, with similar projects underway at Meadowbank, Monrepo, among other areas. The fishermen welcomed the initiative, lauding the president for delivering on his promises. President Ali was accompanied by Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa, NDIA Chairman Lionel Wordsworth, and other technical officials during the visit. On a different note, a 24-year-old man from Sophia's squatting area, Shamar Williams, was earlier today charged with assaulting a police officer and a string of traffic-related offenses following the circulation of a viral video showing a confrontation with a police constable. Appearing before Magistrate Fabio Azura at the Georgetown Magistrates Court, Williams was charged with assault causing actual bodily harm and damage to property. He pleaded not guilty to both charges and was granted bail totaling $25,000. However, for the charge of assault of a peace officer with intent to resist lawful arrest, he was remanded to prison. The matter was adjourned to June 23, 2025. In a separate court appearance before Magistrate Lilram, Williams was found guilty of 9 traffic-related offenses, including unlicensed driving, failure to wear a helmet, driving an uninsured and unlicensed motor vehicle, and obscuring rear identification mark. Fines totaling over $325,000 were imposed, with alternative prison terms ranging from 2 to 30 weeks. He pleaded not guilty to one additional charge, failure to have front ID mark, and was granted $10,000 bail. The Guyana Police Force continues to urge the public to cooperate and respect law enforcement officers. Continuing on our coverage of the growing trend of civilians and law enforcement brawls, a reservist soldier has been remanded after allegedly assaulting a police officer. Dale Jarvis has more on the incident, the court proceedings, and the police's new plan to curb attacks on officers.
Akeem Smith, a 30-year-old reservist soldier from West Coast Berbice, was on Monday remanded to prison after being charged with assaulting a police officer. The incident involved a physical altercation between Smith and a traffic rank. Smith appeared before Magistrate Sunil Scars at the Vigilance Magistrates Court, where he faced 4 charges. He pleaded guilty to refusing a breathalyzer test, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct, incurring fines totaling $85,000. However, he pleaded not guilty to assaulting the peace officer and was remanded until his next court appearance on June 11th at the Maikoni Magistrates Court. In response to the growing trend of motorists attacking unarmed traffic officers, Traffic Chief Assistant Commissioner Mahindra Singh has issued a strong warning. He stated that law enforcement would no longer tolerate violent resistance and announced that traffic ranks would now be equipped with taser guns to subdue non-compliant and aggressive offenders. Singh emphasized that the Guyana Police Force is committed to upholding the law and protecting its officers, adding, anyone who violently resists law enforcement will be met with the full force of the law, including the use of non-lethal taser guns. The police force has begun training officers in the appropriate use of these devices to ensure safe and lawful enforcement. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jarvis.
Thanks, Dale. Stick around when we return. General and regional elections set for September 1st, 2025. GECOM opens a symbol application process. And Guyana passes Hague Convention bill to strengthen international child protection.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Guyana's 2025 general and regional elections are set for September 1st. Dominique Gittins has the latest on GECOM's announcement and what parties need to know ahead of nominations day.
The countdown for Guyana's 2025 general and regional elections has officially begun. The Ghana Elections Commission has confirmed that the highly anticipated polls will be held on September 1st, 2025, marking the formal start of the country's election season. As preparations intensified, GECOM is calling on all political parties intended to contest the elections to submit their party symbols for approval ahead of Nomination Day, which is set for July 14th, 2025. In accordance with Section 16(1) of the Representation of the People Act, parties must submit both printed and electronic version of their proposed symbols. The submission deadline is June 22nd, 2025. These must be addressed to the chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission at 14 High and Cowan Streets, Kingston, Georgetown. Alternatively, parties can submit their applications online through GECOM's official website. A QR code is also available for quick access. For additional information, parties are encouraged to contact GECOM. GECOM continues to urge all stakeholders to adhere to the stipulated deadlines to ensure a smooth and transparent electoral process. The announcement signals the formal start to what is expected to be a critical election cycle as political parties begin mobilizing their campaigns across the country. Reporting for Channel 2 Headline News, Dominic Gittins.
Thanks, Dominic. The National Assembly passes the International Measures for the Protection of Children, or Hague Convention Bill, on Monday evening, marking a significant step in aligning Guyana's child protection laws with international standards. The legislation, presented by Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Dr. Vindhya Prasad, establishes a legal framework for handling international child protection cases, including cross-border adoptions and matters of parental responsibility.
This is a significant stride in Guyana's global commitment to child welfare. The incorporation of the International Measures for the Protection of Children, Hague Convention, Bill 2024, into our national legislative framework is a very positive step in the right direction and speaks to our commitment as a country, as a government, to the protection of children. This bill is a vital instrument for the protection of children, and it ensures that their rights are upheld, their safety and well-being are upheld not only in a national context, but across borders.
A key provision of the bill is the creation of a central authority in Guyana to manage and coordinate international cooperation in child protection. The law ensures that all decisions are made in the best interests of the child and includes appropriate safeguards to protect their welfare.
This standardization reduces conflicts and confusion that often arise in international cases. Practically, Mr. Speaker, many persons move across countries, across borders, and from time to time, relationships are jeopardized. And from time to time, in these troubled relationships, children are involved. So at all times, to protect the interest of these children, this law will take precedence, except in a few cases where the national law will take preeminence.
The bill facilitates collaboration with other countries under the Hague Convention, enhancing Guyana's capacity to protect children globally. Don't go away after the break. El Salvador's Bukele faces human rights scrutiny amid authoritarian concerns, and Bangladesh ex-Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina charged with crimes against humanity.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for bar for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. Suriname declared June 4th a National Day of Mourning following Sunday's tragic boating accident in the Moroni River. President Santoki ordered flags at half-mast as authorities continue their search for missing passengers. The incident claimed at least 3 lives from one family and left an 11-year-old survivor. Investigations are underway amid expressions of condolences from political leaders. Meanwhile, in Central America, Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele marked 6 years in office amid growing concerns over human rights violations and authoritarian tendencies. Despite his enduring popularity for tackling gang violence, critics argue that Bukele's methods have come at a steep cost to civil liberties. Al Jazeera's Lucia Newman reports.
Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele sported his characteristic broad smile to mark his 6th year in office. But after a long run as the world's most popular leader, he's facing increasing charges at home and abroad of widespread human rights violations. The arrest 2 weeks ago of prominent anti-corruption and human rights lawyer Ruth Lopez is adding weight to accusations that Bukele is going after critics, journalists, and NGOs, as well as innocent Salvadorans accused of being gang members.
But the truth is that there are growing reasons to believe that there might be a dictatorship in El Salvador because he has co-opted all powers. There are no separation of powers anymore in the country, and there is growing repression and censorship to independent media.
But Bukele laughs off critics.
I couldn't care less if they call me a dictator. I prefer that they call me a dictator than to see Salvadorans murdered on the streets.
Bukele rose to global fame when he pacified his gang-infested country by declaring a state of emergency and building what's called the world's most harsh prison, locking up tens of thousands of alleged Salvadoran criminals. The arrest campaign has been carried out so indiscriminately that as much as 2% of the population is behind bars. Many are presumed innocent and have been denied due process, access to lawyers, or contact with family. And now, according to Salvadoran human rights groups, Bukele is going after critics.
The purpose of the state of exception is not to guarantee security, but to exercise social control over all voices that don't agree with the official discourse. And we've seen this to a greater extent in recent days, when there has been an upsurge of persecution against people who defend human rights.
Bukele, who enjoys the overwhelming support of U.S. President Donald Trump, does not deny his disdain for critics.
They say we imprison human rights defenders and dissidents who oppose the regime. I wonder how we can fight corruption if the opposition is guaranteed impunity.
But despite growing concerns of authoritarianism, Bukele's popularity remains extremely high. And as long as it lasts, he seems happy to brush off claims that he's become a dictator. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera.
Severe monsoon flooding has unleashed devastation across northeastern India, claiming at least 30 lives and disrupting the lives of hundreds of thousands. Al Jazeera's Paul Ging reports.
In Manipur, devastation. Waterlogged streets and chaos are the result of weeks of torrential downpours. A hospital in the area is among the places hit and needing to be evacuated, with staff, students, patients and equipment all having to move. Medics say everything must go.
All the medicine patients, all the surgery patients, including recently operated, post-operative cases and those which are in neurology and surgical intensive care units. All the patients, literally all have been shifted to the hospital, maybe in RIMS and in the private hospitals in the Imphal area. We have shifted all the patients. Along with the medical students and the nursing staff, all the staff, they have been shifted to, suitable places.
In mountainous Sikkim state bordering Nepal and China, a landslide triggered by the rains killed at least 3 soldiers on Sunday. with several still missing after an army camp was struck by the moving earth. In Assam's rural Kamrup district, authorities say more than 400,000 people have been affected as floodwaters have hit hundreds of homes. And conditions are still worsening.
The water levels have continued to rise over the past 2 days. Some houses in our village are already underwater. Paddy fields are affected. Some have moved to safer places and others are staying in their homes. If the water continues to rise, we'll have to go as well.
Locals say the disruption is far from a new experience.
When our houses get flooded, we're forced to move our belongings to a safer place, and once the water recedes, we return home again. This constant moving has left us with no choice but to build a makeshift shelter on the street. Even getting food is a struggle.
Flash floods are common during the monsoon season, which begins in June and usually eases by late September. South Asia's getting hotter, and in recent years it's seen shifting weather patterns. But scientists are still unclear on exactly how the warming planet's affecting the monsoon season. The specifics, in any case, would be of little comfort to flood victims. Paul Ging, Al Jazeera.
Prosecutors for the International Crime Tribunal in Bangladesh have charged former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina with crimes against humanity. The allegations are linked to last year's security crackdown on a student-led uprising against a job quota system. Al Jazeera's Tanveer Chowdhury reports.
On August the 4th, 2024, just a day before then Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina fled Bangladesh, 16-year-old Ismail Hussain was shot in the head and killed during a protest in Dhaka. Now his family is waiting for justice.
On behalf of all others who've lost family members, we want the death sentence for those involved in these killings, including Hasina. Identify the one who killed my brother and hand over the maximum punishment.
On Sunday, the International Crimes Tribunal formally charged the ousted Prime Minister with crimes against humanity, which prosecutors say were committed during last year's security crackdown. Protest against the job quota system grew into mass uprising against authoritarianism, economic woes, and right abuses. Victims and their family members say they're disappointed because many of the senior politicians, security officials, including former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, have fled the country. They want the accused officials extradited so they can stand trial here in Bangladesh. The tribunal has ordered all three accused to appear before the court on June the 16th. Hasina, who's in self-imposed exile in India, has rejected the charges as politically motivated.
We have the scope in our legislation to try the perpetrators in absentia. If they are not available in Bangladesh and they are not willing to come to the court and face the trial, then we will go for in absentia trial as per law.
We met some of the students injured in the July uprising. Rahmatullah Sabbir still can't see properly through his right eye and lost full vision in his left eye. He was injured by shotgun pellets.
We were ordinary people who demanded nothing unjust. We were protesting for a just cause, but the government tried to brutally suppress our movement. Many of our brothers and sisters were killed, injured, or left disabled.
Survivors of the crackdown and families of the victims said they're hoping Hasina will return home and face those directly affected by her orders. Tanveer Chowdhury, Al Jazeera, Dhaka.
This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3D weather forecast. And that's TV2 Headline News for this Tuesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.